I've been thinking a lot about Anunnaki, and I want to do a journey into them. It's just been coming up lately, and it's one of those things I want to really pay attention to and look at. And the Anunnaki, there's so many stuff about them out there. So you want to have to take all that stuff and place it aside, because I want to see what my soul, what my spirit guides want to say about them and what they want to say to me. But remember, every time we hear things in a journey state, it could simply be designed to teach us to open up, to hear things, to go in a specific direction. Doesn't mean everything you hear is 100% I'm just taking at face value, because it's not like that in the spirit realm. If you think it's that, and you do take everything 100% face value, then that's a mistake, because you're missing the whole point of the message. Metaphorically is something you should always say. Sometimes things are straight, directly as it is, and otherwise, in a lot of ways, it's metaphorical, because it's not simply what the message is, it's what the message does, what the message feels like, what the message activates inside yourself. One thing I tell you, at this day and age, history has a big question mark. It's becoming more and more obvious that what we've been told and what we've been told is very far from the truth. So we need to really stop speaking false statements. TikTok is a perfect example how much is on there that isn't real. But people will post it knowing it's not real, just to get a few clicks. At some point I'm thinking of going on it, and every time I do, it's like, should I even do these? But it'd be nice to have a platform where people will actually do real videos of real events. Could you imagine the Ukraine war, stuff that's happening in China, stuff that's happening all over the world, that's actually people did videos that were real, and we knew they were real. We could actually take it inside ourselves knowing that this is a real video. We know that they can do a video of the President of the United States speaking, and it isn't the President of the United States. It could be anybody. It could be a grandma in Yugoslavia. It could be Vladimir Putin himself that's saying it. The reality is that there's so much on there that isn't real, and that to me I find is the biggest, saddest thing in our society today, is a lack of transparency and truth. If we continue on this path, we're utterly fucked. There's no hope for us. We need to start honoring the truth, honoring the people that speak the truth, not to degrade them and destroy them, because that's what's happening now. You speak the truth, you're ridiculed and destroyed. We need to stop that. We need to encourage this truth speaking. If we don't, we're royally screwed. If I was to look at the chances of the human race of becoming something that is beautiful, it's leaning in the wrong direction. The more of us that come forward, that needle will quickly change, and I see that it does. We need to silence, I don't want to use the word Karens, but we need to silence them. We need to call them out. We need to stop these people that get off on destroying people's lives. You need to speak the truth and not be afraid of what the repercussions are. But the problem is the repercussions are so severe now that people can't and won't take that risk. Because what happens if you're a father with 2 kids and you say something and all of a sudden now you're out of a job? You don't even have the money to feed your kids. You lose everything. This is a very real thing now. And people would be like, oh, well, I got that guy good, didn't I? You just destroyed somebody's life. That guy might have put a bullet in his head because of what you did. The children will go hungry in foster homes because of what you did. You're proud of yourself. These people need to be ripped off like a leech off ourselves, off our minds, off our energy. It's essential that we do this. It's not even as hard as you think. Because once a movement of a human race starts to call these people out, I'm not talking about destroying their lives, but tell them just to shut up. Just to be quiet. Not on social media either. That would help a little bit, but in person. Because these people, somebody's behind these statements. They're the people we need to call out. You need to hold them responsible for their actions. Anyway, it's easy to get lost into tangents of speaking because there is so much stuff that's happening in the world. And then you start talking about it and you start to realize that, oh my God, what the hell is the world coming to? The things that are happening now, that if you went back in the 80s when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, it would be like laughable. Like people wouldn't even believe you that this is how bad things are. What things became. Take your cell phones, place them down. Go for a hike without it. Take a moment and experience nature for all it is. Go to the countryside, place your phones and leave them at home and watch the stars. Dream. Experience things. Real life. Connect yourself with the trees, with the grass, with the air, with the earth. Quiet your mind. Give your soul a chance to speak. I'm going to go visit Anunnaki to see what it is that they wish to say. I have a very, very, very strong pressure in my mind, and it actually creates my mind to explode. When I see people lined up as these beings walk by and their heads are exploding, and they're laughing because they have the technology to do that. Each person had a collar and they're just snapping their fingers as they go by, saying a specific word, whistling, and doing different sounds, and their heads explode from their bodies. and the lifeless bodies fall over and the blood drains into the floor. And there's a shape that's forming here, and all these bodies are on their knees, tied up like hog-tied, like a cow would be. Their hands and legs tied together, and they're beaten. There's not much left in the souls of these people, and their heads exploding, and they're all naked, men and women. There's actually men on one side and women on the other. And then the last stage, there's children, and then crying babies. And as they walk by, they explode their heads of all of them, including the babies. And then there's one child that they call special, that's at the very top of this formation on the ground, at the very end of it. It's higher up, and these beings walk over to the baby, and the baby has a very unique crystal tiara on its head, and they simply walk over with a long nail. It's not a nail, it's a thing they have in their finger. It's very sharp, and they just cut it open, and they peel, as the baby's crying, they peel the chest apart and eat the heart of the baby. They each take a piece of it, and they call upon a dark god, their creator, they believe, is their creator. And a very weird black dust comes into each one of these beings. And they all get deformed and twisted. And they start eating all what's left of the people in this room until they're all fat and lazy and devoured. And they stay inside this place for days as they digest all the food that they just ate. And eventually the darkness leaves them and goes into the floor, into a place underneath where all the blood drained, and a pool. And there's like a being that appears that comes out of the water, or not water, but the blood. This being stands there and they know that this is what this was about, and these beings are all dead, all four of them. They all died. And it gives life to this one being. And as he walks, the earth dies around it. And it leaves this temple, so to speak, this structure. And there's all kinds of people here banging at the temple doorstep. And there's people here, all kinds of them, different sizes and shapes. And they all throw spears, big, huge spears that just kind of deflect off. It's like this thing's got an energy barrier around it. But there is a group of people here, and they walk over to it, and they go on their knees. Hey everyone, that video got interrupted, so I just wanted to continue on with this for a while longer. So I left off with them being on their knees. These people went on their knees, and just the big ones, like, because this being stands like really tall, and these other beings in front here also stand tall, but they have, there's something important that they had discussed prior to this that isn't being said right now. And they go on their knees, and this thing comes forward, and it looks down at these beings, and these beings move really quickly all of a sudden, and they have these, it looks like energy spears that appear, and they instantly wrap around this being, and it's like this being is wrap. It's almost like ropes of energy now that are appearing, and they're forming around this thing, and they throw those spears up into the air, and there's this, looks like spaceship from above, pulls this being up into the spaceship, and the spaceship shoots directly towards the sun. And there's a big, huge cheering that takes place, and this being is trying to break free. And this ship is being flown by, it looks like, you could say a god of fire, because he's in flames, and knows exactly what he's doing. And he flies into the sun with this ship, and the ship instantly bursts into flames, and he becomes flames himself. This being is pulled into, it looks like a different space, a different dimensional space, and pulled into it with the energy cords around it. And this being of fire guards this place, this entryway, to this day. And the beings that were on the ground, they put these energy things around this temple, and they shatter the temple, and the earth opens up and swallows it completely, so it wouldn't even be there. And there's a huge cheer. Everybody's cheering, and these beings stay and teach the people. This great evil has been vanquished. But they teach that it's always there, that it always whispers inside yourself, and then to be aware of that. Be aware of the whispers. Be aware of the good within all of you, and the whispers inside yourself need to be silenced if they're asking you to do things that you know that are unacceptable. If you give in to the whispers, you will fall prey to this being, and you'll become more and more stronger. And they say there will be a time again where this being is going to be brought forward to the earth. And he looks at me, as these beings look at me, because they know I'm here as a witness to what it is they're saying. That these beings that released it earlier, there's like reincarnations of them here now, trying to open this gateway to allow this being to come back. It's essential we do not allow this being to come onto the earth. We need to silence the voices. We need to fight. In a sense, fight is the wrong word. We need to create the strength within our own souls, to shine a light within ourselves in order to grow. The love within us, so these voices are silent. how you know is when things become acceptable that once were no longer acceptable. The world will start doing things in a way that just doesn't make any sense. He's saying there's things that are going to be brought forward as what is acceptable. That should never be accepted. And one of the things is, believe it or not, is something to do with the insect population. We shouldn't be blindly accepting the replacement of food into something that, like of insects, for instance, powder from the insects. It's something, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't also accept, like they're saying, cannibalism as well as coming up, because this is part of the things that these beings they love to eat other beings, they love to torture, they love to, and the sexual energy is part of it. This is very much a real thing, and I know this is a warning that the Anunnaki are bringing forward, because this event happened before. This being stood upon the earth, even though it was for a short time. But they got together and they put a stop to this being. Well, what happens if we do not have the gods on our side? We have to stand up to this energy on our own. But they're saying that who says that there's no gods on this earth waiting for this moment to happen? In some ways, we have the ability to stop this from happening again by simply shutting down. But it's almost like we're losing the battle to this, because there's too many people that have already given up. But it's not impossible, and it's almost like it doesn't matter in some ways, because it's almost inevitable that this is going to repeat itself. And and the people that are challenged are challenged, and the people that fail. And they will have to live with the consequences of whatever that is. And I'm looking at there's a wire of what the word is. There's an expectation from the Anunnaki, from us. It's almost like you need to help yourself. Why aren't you helping yourself? You need to help yourself. Why are you allowing this stuff to happen? There's no need of it. It doesn't need to be that way. Take responsibility for who and what you are. Have a stronger backbone. Don't be so fragile to life experiences. Just wanted me to share that story with you. And there is an expectation of life that we need to follow through with. Sorry, it's just very distracting. There was a water truck going by spraying water, and it didn't sound anything like a water truck, but anyway. It's kind of the ending anyway. That's all they wanted to tell me. And they're telling me that the things that I'm saying, I'm trying to get a different thing, but the stuff that's happening is so important that we understand. They're telling me you have to be what you're meant to be, because if you're not, it's just going to make things worse for everyone. There's going to be things brought forward, or there's already being brought forward, that are not acceptable, and we should not accept them. Period. Because if we accept them and we embrace this being that's coming, they will not intervene. Interesting. Because if we ask for their help, we ask for, and we try to fight against this thing, then that's when they come and help. That's when things are what they're meant to be, or something will happen. But the ones that are meant to, it's almost like they're saying the ones that help will be pulled out of this thing, or this will stop. It's almost like just be the best person you can be and things will work out. If you don't and you embrace this being, then you will have to live with that being. That's the easiest way of saying it. Thank you very much, everyone. If you want to do a journey with me one-on-one, you can visit me at Joseph Bradley Roars. And I am going to be doing Northern Light tours as well, as a spiritual Northern Light tours as well, to teach people about spirituality and how to, all the scenarios of what I do and what Abbey does, and me and Abbey will be doing that together. We're still got a lot of things to figure out. It's Yukon Skies, but it's not done yet, the website. It's just put up there for it's just put up there to get Google to start to recognize it, because we're getting very close to finishing it, and a little bit at a time. Thank you very much, everyone, and I gotta learn to speak. I'm jumping over myself. Trying to make it lighthearted to a very serious message. Thank you very much, everyone.